Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Nostalgia Talks. I'm your host, Natalie. Thanks for tuning in to a new week, a new episode. I hope you guys are all having a great week so far. I know it's barely the middle of the week. Well, depending when you're listening to this, if you're listening to it the day it comes out, it's a Wednesday. And I mean, if you're listening to it later in the week, then I hope you have had a good week. I just hope you guys are doing well and are healthy and happy. And summer is coming up really, really fast. When is summer, actually? Let me look that up really quick. I actually don't know when summer is. Summer starts June 20th. Wow, that's really, really soon. No wonder it's so freaking hot. I hope you guys have some really cool plans for this summer. I am going to Mexico for like an entire month, and I am very, very excited. But also, I mean, I don't know if you guys get like this, but when I'm away from home for a certain amount of time, I just really want to be home. So I feel like I wouldn't necessarily want to be anywhere really for an entire month. But also I'm trying to be very optimistic and just try to think of it like I'm going on vacation. I'm going to see a bunch of family and it's going to be a really great time, which it will be. It will be a great time. And, I am going on vacation and I'm very grateful that I get to go on vacation with my family. But it is a pretty extended period of time. But I am excited about it and I hope that you guys have some really exciting, cool, fun plans for the summer. In today's episode, this is my first advice episode. And I'm actually really excited about this because I was trying to think of what I could do to make the podcast more interactive, especially for solo episodes. Because obviously, episodes are going to be very interactive when I have guests on because there's somebody else that I'm talking to and it's an actual conversation. But when it's solo episodes, I mean, it's just me talking. And I was just trying to think, like, how can I make the podcast still be interactive even though it's just me talking? So I thought an advice segment would be a good idea. And if you guys ever want to send in a submission, they're always going to be anonymous. Unless you want to put your name in it, you really don't have to. I am not going to ask that you guys do that, but it's completely up to you. But regardless, each submission will be anonymous. And I think that's really cool, and I think it's a fun idea. And if you want to send in a submission, you can go to the N for Nostalgia newsletter, which is on Substack. And if you go to Nostalgia Talks podcast on Instagram, you can go ahead and just click the link tree, and it'll take you to the link for that. Well, to the Substack, to the newsletter is what I'm trying to say. And you can find it there. Or if you go to the highlights of the podcast's Instagram, there is a direct link on there as well. If you want it to be more like a one-click thing, you could just do that. But anyways, I got a really great question on here, and the question is, how do you differentiate your feelings for a friend versus romantic feelings? I think that this is such an interesting question, and I think I'll have some fun answering it. I really actually love this question, so much so that I really wish I knew who sent it in. And that's what I'm saying. Like, these are anonymous. They don't include your name in it at all. Unless you want to put it, you can. But I thought that maybe Pat had sent this in, but he said he didn't, and I believe him because he also thought it was a really great question. But anyway, so how do you differentiate your feelings for a friend versus romantic feelings? I have not really been one to struggle with this except for recently. So usually I feel like I'm really good at just trusting my intuition and being like, oh, I like this person romantically, or oh, I just like this person as a friend. So I don't really know like how or when that really becomes difficult. Usually I can just tell. I feel like I'm very intuitive and very in touch with my feelings and my emotions, that it just makes it easy for me to differentiate romantic versus friendship feelings, platonic feelings, except for with Pat. With Patricio, it's been definitely a lot harder. I really thought, like, for our entire friendship, that, like, we were just friends. Well, not that I thought, I knew, like, that's what it was. We were just friends. But then after we had our first kiss, that's when it became very complicated for me, because, like, I couldn't decide whether I wanted to just see him as a friend or if I actually had romantic feelings for him. But then again, I feel like that was me just kind of trying to lie to myself and kind of hold off making that decision. But I think that, I feel like you can tell when you just like somebody as a friend. I feel like when you just like someone as a friend, you can just tell, because you don't really get those butterflies around them. You don't really get, like, this overwhelming feeling of excitement, if that makes sense. If you guys have experienced this, and you probably know what I'm talking about when I'm saying, I think that when you do like somebody romantically, there's just a different feeling to it. And you know what? That doesn't have to mean, like, if you're feeling this, then that means that this person's the one, or that, you know, it's gonna be two-sided. Is that the right term? Two-sided? I think so. It doesn't mean that it's gonna be two-sided. I think that you just kind of have to be willing to take that jump, which is what I did with me and Patricio. Like, I just kind of took that jump. But then again, like, people did, two or three of my friends did kind of help me decide that. I just couldn't really make that decision on my own until I had some advice. So here's my advice. I think that you should express your feelings always. I think that you should talk about your feelings with the other person always. I think that's very important, and I think that's what helped me make my decision as well, is just not only talking to my friends about it, because usually I don't really talk to my friends about stuff like this. It's just this situation with Patricio and me was just very different and a lot more complicated and heavy, and I was like, I need help. But I think it's very, very important to have those conversations with the person that you are maybe having feelings for, because then you guys can talk about it with each other and clear up any confusion about the situation or about your feelings for each other. I think that's really important, and I think the direction that conversation goes in can also dictate the directions that your feelings go towards, if that makes sense. But again, I think that when you like somebody romantically, you just kind of know. Like, you get excited to see them, you get a little bit of butterflies, you want to just tell them everything. But there's definitely, and the thing is, I get, well, okay, you know what? I see how this could be complicated, because you can feel those things with just friends. But I think that when it's with just friends, I think you just know, and I feel like that advice sucks. Like, you just know, but you do. Because I've gone on dates with guys and just instantly have known whether I like them romantically or not. Because there have been times where I've gone on dates with guys and I don't feel it. You know, like, I don't feel that giddiness. I don't feel that affection there. I don't feel like I want to hug them. I feel like when I like somebody romantically, like, I just want to be near them all the time. Like, I just want to be I want to be in the same vicinity as each other. And when I don't like somebody romantically, I definitely don't want that. I don't have that same feeling. So I feel like it also depends on maybe your love language. Like if you see your love languages coming through towards another person, then maybe that's when you know if it's romantic or not. Because I feel like you approach those, sorry, my P's are really they're really popping right now. Sorry. I feel like it just, your romantic languages just come out a lot more when you see somebody in a romantic way rather than just a friendship, platonic way. I don't know. Because I think that's what it is. When I have romantic feelings towards someone, I like crave to be in the same vicinity as them, and I crave to be like next to them, and I just like crave their attention. But when I go on dates and I don't really like the guy, I don't have that same feeling. I don't even have any confusion about it. So I don't know. But then again, I mean, with Pat, it was very different. It's been very different. And when I was in that stage of first trying to figure out whether the feelings were romantic or platonic, it was a little difficult. I'm not gonna lie. But I think it's all about you trying to lie to yourself. Because I feel like you will know. Like, I think if you have romantic feelings for someone and you're trying to go back and forth between whether it's platonic or not, I think you're just trying to kid yourself. I think you're just trying to lie to yourself for some reason. Because you'll feel it. You will just feel it. And once you let yourself go, it'll feel so much better. And I mean, I know that it doesn't always go positively for everybody. I think I just got lucky, and some people just get lucky. And that's okay too, you know? I think honesty is super important. And, you know, being honest will not always get you what you want exactly. But I think telling the truth is always beneficial no matter what. Because you find out what you need to know, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, sure, you could get rejected. But that's the worst thing that could happen, is just you get rejected. And rejection, I think, is necessary to build character. And it sucks. Rejection really freaking sucks. I know it does. But I think, like, it just happens, and you kind of have to just learn to deal with it, unfortunately. But that's the worst that can happen, which honestly isn't even that bad. And the best thing that could happen is that you tell them how you feel, and they feel the exact same way that you do. And that's going to be the best freaking feeling in the world. And that's what you always hope for, right? But, I mean, it's not always guaranteed that it's going to happen. But again, I think it's okay, because worst case scenario isn't even all that bad if you really think about it. Because obviously, if you and that person are meant to be, then you guys are meant to be, and it's going to happen. But if it's not meant to be, then it's just not. And it's unfortunate, but it's what's best for you and that person. But yeah, I think you just kind of have to have that conversation with the person, and you have to be honest with yourself, and they have to be honest with themselves and with you. And I mean, if you really need to talk to somebody about it before you talk to that person about it, talk to your best friend, or I suggest talking to your parents if you feel comfortable talking to them. I find that my parents give the best advice that anybody could possibly give me. So I think talking to your parents, because your parents also have very good intuition, and they just know. So I think that's your best option, is talking to your parents about it, maybe. Or if that doesn't make you feel comfortable, talk to the person who you feel the most comfortable talking to about stuff like that. And again, just be honest with yourself, because I think that's how you're going to get your answer, is if you really open yourself up, if you open up your heart and you open up your mind. I think that's the only way that you will really know how you feel about something or about someone. Is you just have to be open and honest. And then have that conversation with the person, because that really is your best option, and that's how you're going to get your answers. And yeah, I think that's just what you have to do, is you have to talk to the person, be honest with yourself, talk to them about it, and I think that'll give you the most amount of clarity. And also, I think just kind of evaluating the person. I think that's another good thing to do, I think, is evaluating, like, who is this person? What are they like really? Because there's one thing about, like, you feel different about somebody once you start having a little crush on them. Once you start developing a crush, I feel like you don't really pay attention to how they treat other people. I feel like you tend to only care about how they treat you, which is so not the right way to look at it, unfortunately. You have to really look and pay attention to how this person treats other people as well. I think that's super important. So I think you have to look at it like, who is this person outside of how they treat me and who they are with me? Because it is true, like, people act different around certain people. So I think you really need to evaluate that. Like, do I like this person outside of who they are with me and how they treat me? Because if you end up finding that, oh, they're actually not that kind, they're actually not as nice as I thought they were, they're not that nice to other people the way that they are to me, you don't want to be with somebody like that, because you just never know if they're going to turn on you, you know? You never know. So I think that's really important. Like, how is this person around their friends? That's super important. How are their friends? Because people are very similar to their friends. It's a very important thing to look at. Who are they around their friends? What are their friends like? Are they a family person? If that's what you're looking for, great. How are they when they interact with their family? How are they when they interact with strangers? How are they when they interact with people who are serving them or helping them out? Like, do they say please? Do they say thank you? Are they nice? You know, because it's very important for people to be kind. So I think those things are very important to look at. Just looking at how they interact with other people, looking at who they are really as a person. I think that can help you identify whether you see them romantically or platonically as well. Yeah, and I think you just need to hang out with the person a couple of times. I don't think that you can really, not that this is what the person who sent this in is doing, but I don't think that you can really tell whether you like somebody platonically or romantically off of just one or two hangouts. I think you should give it a couple of tries. That's what I have always tended to do, just because you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I think that's fair, and I think that you should. So I think that this is not something that you can determine off of one or two hangouts. And again, especially if you want to do what I just said, like evaluate the type of person that they really are, you gotta hang out with them in different sort of environments as well. And also, another thing, since I brought up like evaluating them in different situations, I think it's important to show them things that you like and see how they respond to that. Like, tell them about your favorite movies, watch your favorite movies together, show them your favorite songs, listen to your favorite songs together. If you really love bowling, go take them bowling. Like, do things with them that you like doing. I feel like maybe some people wouldn't recommend that. Some people wouldn't like that. If you have like a sort of that sort of attachment style where you connect things with people, if that makes sense. Like, you know how some people, if they listen to this song with this person, they can never listen to that song again the same. If you're someone like that, maybe it's not a good idea for you. But I think it's, honestly, regardless, I feel like it's a good idea. Like, you should do things with that person that you enjoy doing to see how they react to it. How are they in those situations? Because you want to make sure you're a good match. And if you can't enjoy things that you genuinely like doing, if you can't enjoy that with them, they're definitely not the ones for you. So I think that's really important. Also, make sure you talk about this person with people in your life. I also think that's really important, because the people in your life, if they really care about you, they are going to be honest with you. And people in your life usually have good intuition, especially parents. Listen to your parents. I know it might be really annoying sometimes, and they might tell you something that you don't want to hear, but usually they're right. They have really great intuition. And so I feel like talking about the person that you're interested in with the people around you will be very beneficial to you to know whether, like, okay, this is a good person, this is a good guy, this is a good girl, this is a good person to be with. I think that's really important. I'm trying to think, what else can you do? Because I feel like my advice at the beginning of this, of being like, oh, you just know, was just not good enough. And I apologize. But yeah, I think just being really open is really the only way that you're going to know for sure. Being open with yourself and with the other person. Communication is really, really important. If you can't communicate with them, they are not the one. You cannot see me, but I am shaking my head. They are not the one. Okay? Just be open with them and with yourself and also the people around you, because they will let you know. But I feel like you will know if you like somebody romantically or platonically. You just have to be honest with yourself. And I know it's really, really scary to communicate with the person you have feelings for, because, I mean, you never know how they're going to react, but I think that reaction will give you a lot of clarity. So I think it's really necessary, and just take that leap of faith, just take it, because you never know what's going to happen. It might end up being one of the best decisions of your life. So I think it's a really good idea. But that's, I think, all I wanted to say about the topic. Thank you so much for whoever sent that in. I have no idea who it is. I wish I did so I could say thank you, because I loved this question, and I hope whoever you are, if you are in this situation currently, I hope that you figure it out, and I hope that, the turnout is exactly how you want it to be. And even if it's not, maybe the turnout is just what it's meant to be, and you just have to accept that. And in the long run, you're going to be very happy, I promise. But yeah, thank you to whoever sent this in. Thank you guys for listening. I really, really appreciate it. I will I will talk to you guys next time. If any of you want to send in a submission, you can go to the podcast's Instagram, which is Nostalgia Talks Podcast, and there's a highlight where you can just click a link on the highlight and it'll take you straight there. But you can also go to my link tree if you would like to sign up for the End for Nostalgia newsletter. I send out some pretty cool newsletters if you guys are interested in that. I have a lot of fun making them, and it makes me so happy to think that you guys enjoy reading them as well. Yeah, and you guys can also make comments on the posts as well, on the newsletters, to let me know if you like them, if you want to hear anything else from me, anything like that. And also in the description of the episodes, wherever you listen to them, I know for sure on Spotify, you can let me know your thoughts on the episodes as well. And you can always let me know if you want me to talk about something specific. I'm always open to that. And another thing, if any of you ever want to be a guest on the podcast, if you know me personally, just shoot me a text or shoot me a DM. I would love to have any and all of you on the podcast. Even if you are maybe out of state or super far away from me, I will make it happen. I think I can do podcasts through the phone. I still need to test that out, but I would love to do that. And I would love to have any of you on. I think that would be so much fun. I think it's a lot more interactive and a lot more interesting for listeners. And I think all of you guys are so cool and awesome and lovely. So yeah, thanks so much for listening to this week's episode, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.